Welcome to MyCounselor.Online. I'm Josh Spurlock, and this video is about sexual trauma, overcoming sexual trauma, so that you can have a healthy sex life, healthy sexual relationship with your spouse. And it's a very important video because most people don't realize all the different kinds of situations that can result in a sexually traumatic experience that can interfere with a healthy sexual relationship. And so there's a lot of women out there who dislike sex, have a real strong negative emotional experience related to sex, and they don't know why. And when they can't identify anything in their story that makes sense of that for them, they go, I don't know why it is. It's just the way it is. It's just the way I am. And it's very often as I'm working with folks and talking through their story and gathering some history to understand what's going on, we come to find that there are some experiences that have created a sense of trauma that are is resulting in this negative emotional relationship with sex. And so understand what trauma is important. And in the context that we're talking about trauma, we're talking about intense emotionally negative experience revolving around or related to your body or related to sexuality in general. And the experience itself is less what determines whether it's trauma as it is how it impacted you. And so all sorts of situations that maybe in your mind wouldn't be classified as trauma, but were experiences very negative emotionally, can result in creating what we call sexual aversion. That's where your brain pairs a negative emotional experience with sex and the things related to sex in a way that your brain tries to protect you from. It says these things are bad, they result in negative experiences, and so I'm going to protect you by quashing any sort of desire to engage sexually and by creating this kind of pull back response to sexual stimuli. And so let's take a look at and talk about just a few of the things that can result in create a sexual trauma. So the most obvious things that we think of are like a stranger rape, right? This is what you would think of in the movies or see in the movies where somebody you don't know jumps out and grabs you and forces you to engage sexually in some way. That's obviously a sexual trauma and create a negative emotional experience surrounding sex. Other more obvious examples would be sexual molestation as a child in some way. That sexual abuse we know would cause negative feelings about sex that may make it difficult to connect sexually. But there's a lot of other experiences that are maybe less obvious, like a humiliation or sexual humiliation of some sort. Might come in the context of peer bullying, some sort in the locker room, being made fun of about your body or sexuality in some way. Lewd comments or innuendos that leave you feeling uncomfortable sexually. Having a creepy person kind of staring at you or undressing with their eyes, or maybe sharing on social media a picture of you that you don't wish to be shared, and all the commentary that may go around that. Could be a comment from a boyfriend or spouse that is derogatory about your body, leaves you feeling bad about yourself, maybe a negative commentary on you as a lover or sexually or not being sexually arousing. That sort of thing has a deep emotional impact on you. Could even be a lack of dating interest, and feeling that you're not attractive, feeling that you're not interesting to be pursued in a romantic kind of way. That can leave a scarring, traumatic kind of feeling in your heart around your body, around romance, around sexual topics that cause you to avoid them or pull back or away from them. Could be a humiliating experience surrounding your first period, or just body development, feeling awkward, feeling uncomfortable within your body. All of these things can create negative emotional experiences associated with your body, associated with sexuality, in a way that interfere with your ability to enjoy the sexual part of your life and relationship. Now, could be a trust violation. Right? You see this in an extreme way in like a date rape situation, but it can be just sexual pressure from a boyfriend or from a friend who pressured you to engage sexually in ways that you didn't feel comfortable. Could even be in the context of a spouse. At one time or another, either when dating or after marriage, that there's some sort of feeling of demand and pressure to engage sexually when you didn't feel comfortable doing so, and that violation of that very vulnerable part of yourself then creates a negative emotional experience, causes sex to be viewed through a negative lens by your emotions, by your body, or some sort of a predatory type situation where a coach or a teacher, somebody made sexual advances that left you feeling uncomfortable. All of these things can create negative emotional experiences that result in sexual aversions that cause us to not be able to enjoy sex and to avoid sex. Sometimes it's of a different type, what we call like an experimental play. So this would be a scenario where you as a kid engaged in playing doctor or sexual body stimulation, stimulating your body sexually in some way, either accidentally at first, and then you discovered that that felt pleasurable, and so you pursued that intentionally, and there might be some sort of guilt or shame or discomfort around that, or wondering about what that means about you. Or it could be a being taken advantage of by an older neighbor or a babysitter or someone else that kind of violated your personal space. All of those scenarios can lead to sexual aversions. Sometimes it's our own choices. Sometimes the immature choices that we make at an earlier stage in our life, in high school or college, that involve engaging sexually in ways that now we have shame and embarrassment around. Maybe ways of acting out or being promiscuous, or the ways that we engage sexually that cause us to feel dirty, cause us to feel bad about the sexual part of ourselves in a way that maybe now as a person who's a little bit more mature or who's gotten saved and has a different understanding of sexuality because of their faith, and now look back on those things with feelings of shame and embarrassment in a way that now shuts down your sexual desire or your pursuit of things that are sexual, because it reminds you of those shameful experiences that you've had in your life or that you engaged. That can lead to sexual aversions that get in the way. And certainly anything that involves pain, any sort of sexual experience, physical experience that's been physically painful in a negative way that gets associated with sex, will also can be physically traumatic, sexually traumatic, and create these aversions that really lead you to avoid connecting sexually. So all of these things are incredibly common, that we face that and see these things within our practice on a regular basis. If you find yourself in any of these scenarios, or if you find yourself showing signs of sexual aversion, that is, you avoid sex, you don't enjoy sex, you feel uncomfortable or have negative emotions when thinking about sex, are indicators that there may be some sexual trauma of some sort within your story that you're just not putting your finger on. And you may need to work with a sex therapist, professional counselor, to help you kind of sort through and identify what those things are so that you can work through them. In the article, you'll find embedded some videos from sex therapist Wendy Maltz, as well as some other resources that are self-help in working through some sexual aversions and giving you an idea of what the treatment around sexual trauma to restore and find sexual healing so you can enjoy this part of your relationship. Gives you an idea of what that looks like. You can find other resources at MyCounselor.Online, the articles and videos, or connect with a licensed counselor, certified sex therapist that can help you troubleshoot these things either online or in person at one of our offices. I'm Josh Spurlock. Till the next time we connect, be blessed and keep loving life.